Excited to get back into a game week routine. Excited to get a home game. Haven't had a home game here in a while. The last two on the road, and then a bye week. So good to get a home game, big game, obviously in conference for us with where we're at right now, being 1-1 in the SEC. So a huge game for us. Obviously a big challenge playing Auburn, a very very good football team. You look what they've done. Goes to the last play of the game. They're throwing the ball in the end zone, chance to beat Clemson early in the year. Big win over LSU. A couple huge blowout wins. Excellent football team. We're going to have to come out and play at a very very high level in all three phases. They got talent across the board. They got a lot of talented players on the field. So. Great challenge for our guys, and hopefully we come out and respond to having the bye week done the right way and come out and have a great week.
Questions? We'll get a mic to you as usual.
When did you start with the bye? Start looking at Auburn tape, and how did you use the extra time to prepare for Auburn?
Yeah, at the end of last week, we spent we did a lot of work. You get a lot of recruiting done in the bye week for the coaches. So they're spending a lot of time recruiting, and then you're really doing a little bit of evaluating our program and what we need to improve, what we need to work on. So all that's done early in the week, and so Thursday, Friday, start looking at Auburn just so you get a little jump start ahead. So we haven't practiced, nothing in practice, just more game planning.
In your 2 wins this year, Nick has had 2 really good games. And then in the 2 losses, obviously, he struggled a little. Are you worried the offense is a little, too reliant on the quarterback playing really, really well that you can't, get production from other places? Or do you think that's just kind of been a circumstance?
No, because in our 2 losses, I think our quarterback's graded fairly high. So they've played well in the 2 losses.
Coach, Auburn seems to be a much better team on defense this year. What have you seen from Kevin Steele's defense on film?
Well, obviously they got a great defensive front. You take number 1 for them. Probably would have been an easy first-round pick last year. Is back, so when you're able to get a guy like that back, that sets the tone. And defensive end 55's healthy. I think they have a couple guys who are the number 1 recruit in the country on the defensive line. So. A lot of talent that way helps. They got some great corners outside on the edge to shut you down. So you can shut you down. You can cover, and you got one of the best D lines in the country. You're going to be very salty on D.
Coach, you talked a lot of this year of having not so much a young team, but an inexperienced team when you look at first-time starters. Just from a leadership standpoint, what is a Will Coleman and Cedric Giles getting him back in the flow this week kind of do for that defense?
Well, it helps just because there are some experienced players a little bit. Obviously, it's been a big mess. You're looking at how many we walked off the field last year's bowl game, and you're expecting the seniors are your leaders, and I think there's up to 7 or 8 that we would have expected to have played this year. They're no longer on the field playing for us much, or because of all different circumstances. So anytime you get a guy back that has some leadership potential, obviously they haven't played in quite a while. So I don't know leadership-wise. It's just good to see a veteran body out there because they're, a lot of their focus is going to be getting themselves ready to get into game shape and get ready to start playing again.
Jenkins and Rankin kind of interchanged at left tackle all season. How have you kind of chosen which guys to go out there at which different times?
Well, I think they both play in the game, and I think we just rotate them a lot, like with the running backs, just by series, who's doing well, and if one guy's playing really well, we'll usually stick with him in the 4th quarter.
Kind of jumping on Paul's question, Cedric Giles, obviously he was expected to kind of be a starter, broken arm about 2 weeks before the season started. How do you think he kind of coped with that, and how do you think he kind of attacked his rehab, trying to get back for as much of his senior season as he could?
Well, I think one thing was said, he's had so many injuries throughout his career. I think, initially it's extremely frustrating because I think he's missed 2 full seasons. And you have another one, an injury, but I think for him, the fact that it wasn't going to be a season-long injury, I think really motivated him to work to get back and, get himself the ability to get on the field, and even if it's in a limited role, be able to play for us this week.
Coach Deion Calhoun's kind of emerged at tackle for you guys, and it started, all the games this season. How has he developed, and what has kind of earned him that playing time?
Well, I think, he's worked really hard, both in the offseason and on the field, and I think, he's got great potential. You see him make some great plays, still make some experience mistakes, which to me are issues for him, but what I've seen is those constantly improve from week to week, not making the same mistakes over and over again. So, I think everybody has a good feel that, he's a guy that we're going to depend on and is going to continue to grow and have the opportunity to be a great player for us down the road.
Ashton Shumpert and Arius Williams are seem like they're starting to get a little bit. Ashton broke out a little bit on a big run in the UMass game. How have they accompanied Brendan Holloway, and how's that running game developed?
Well, I think, like I said, they all the backs run with a little different style. So, even when you're running the same play, they hit them a little differently. So it's, to me, I think it does give you a little different options, that you're not running a different play for the offense. You're running the same play, but it'll hit differently depending on what back's in the game. And I think all three guys have done a pretty good job and given us balance at the running back position. I guess the good part is you have three of them that are going. The bad part is, like everybody, boy, you don't have that one back that has huge numbers for us like we've had in certain years. But I'm okay with, splitting it all up.
Auburn's the quarterback, Sean White's kind of coming to his own this year, has pretty good numbers. Have you seen anything different with him this year? Why is he?
Well, I think one of the things, you watch game one, I think they rotated a bunch. They played all different quarterbacks and rolled in, and and then they've kind of settled on. It looks like they've settled down on Sean, so I think that gives him some confidence out there on the field. He's been in the system a little bit longer. I think understands the offense. As Gus, they're going to build around his strengths. With him being the guy, they're going to do things he does well, and you've seen him when they do that. And they've kind of, I guess, like all of us, you kind of get a couple weeks into the season and you're trying to see what direction, what type of team you're going to have this year, and then you start building in that direction. They've been able to put some stuff together that he does well and executes it. A good decision maker, accurate passer, very, very willing runner, and by that I mean productive, willing runner. To me, might not be the game breaker that some guys are, but reminds me of a lot like Dak Prescott was as a runner for us, where he's gonna go get you some tough, gritty yards when he needs to, and can extend plays and make things happen with his legs when he needs to.
Just talking about Sean White. John Franklin III has also come in for Auburn, especially the last two games, and been kind of a change of pace guy. Mm-hmm. What does he do when you look at planning for Auburn?
Well, I think they bring him more as like a wildcat type quarterback. It seems like, where he's coming in to run the football for him, and to give a change of pace, and when they're going to run the quarterback, some to protect your starter, not have him have to take the hits.
Coach, you entered the season with Justin Johnson as your top returning tight end, but you're beginning to see more playmakers emerge in the personnel group. What have you seen from those guys?
Well, they're coming along. You got a redshirt freshman and a first-year junior college player that, we weren't sure if we were going to play or not, and, didn't play in the first game. And so you have two guys. Again, that's one of those positions that hit. If you look as you build the program, you expect somebody else was going to be there this year for that spot starting, and guys have time to develop. But they're coming along. The guys are being forced to play much earlier than we'd want them to play in their career, but they're accepting that role and making pretty good improvements. And so both Jordan and Farad are taking real positive steps in the right direction for us.
You said trying to get back into game shape. And when did he start practicing again, and how do you balance him getting back into the game?
He took a couple reps last week here, very minimal reps last week, so really today will be his first real practice.
And then how do you balance working him in, but at the right pace?
Well, fortunately, he's in pretty good physical condition as an athlete. So, but you know, you gotta just take it slow, and you gotta build up. And at the end of the week, we'll see how many reps we think he has in him for this game, and hopefully it'll continue to grow from week to week.
Last time Auburn was here was the number 2 versus number 3 game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember most about that game 2 years ago?
Winning. It was a great game. I mean, it was unbelievable atmosphere. Probably, best atmosphere here that I've seen since I've been the head coach. A lot of people have said that I think it's probably the biggest game in the history of the school, and to win that game was fantastic. Just the crowd, everything. But all kinds of little things. I think we jumped up 21-0. Right, I remember up 21-0. I looked at the clock and I'm like, all right, we're in good shape, and it was 10 minutes left in the first quarter or something. We jumped to a really fast early lead. I'm like, holy cow! We gotta make sure we stay focused. Because they're an excellent football team. You got to play a 4-quarter game, and all of a sudden you can kind of look up and say, boy, we're in good shape right now. And the second you do that, you're in a lot of trouble. But it was. I think it was a great day. It was a special day for everybody here and on campus, and getting a big win like that. So it's a great memory that everybody involved in that game will have.
Got a pretty good rotation going in nose guard with Jeffrey and Braxton and Nick and Nelson. What have you seen so far from Jeffrey? Obviously, almost midway through his true freshman year. What are some things that he struggled with, and what has he kind of done that you expect?
Well, I think he's learning how to play the position. He didn't play as much interior in high school, but he's put on a lot of size since high school, just physically matured. So he's learning to play with his weight. He's learning to play a little bit more of a play in the nose of being a physical inside guy. You see a guy that certainly can do it, and has the potential to be a great playmaker for us. And he's just getting used to the speed of the game, the technique fundamentals, and learning how to play the position. Whether he's playing a nose or a tackle or any of those things. But I think he's coming along nicely. I think he has a great attitude, which is the best thing that he has going for him. He has great work ethic and a great attitude.
Kind of similar to how Chris was when Chris got to come in with P.J. Jones and some older guys.
A little different player. Probably plays. He's probably a little bit more natural of an inside guy. Just with his power and his size and his physical stature, where Chris Jones came in as such a, both Chris and Fletcher came in as just really phenomenal athletes that put on size. Jeffrey's always been a big guy, so but those guys came in and had just tremendous athletic ability, and then I think they're both about 250. Chris and Fletcher are both about 250 on signing day, and all of a sudden we're 300 pounds in a hurry. Where Jeffrey's gone, he's a power lifter in high school, so he's always kind of been a bigger guy that way.
When you looked at all the tape and the self-evaluation, what did you take most from the team's first month of play? Execution. And playing with confidence, that there are a lot more plays there to be made than we're making. But I think a lot of that comes with the confidence and experience and playing, being out there on the field playing, and you get into a game and it's happening the games always happen a little faster for young guys than practice does. And with everything happening that fast, is can I still block everything out and just worry about executing this play to the best of my ability? You just see confidence with guys. I knew what to do, I knew where I'm at, but it just, something was a little bit different, and I changed what I was supposed to do. And you look and say, you don't need to, just trust what you're doing, and you would have been fine to go make plays, both on offense, defense, and in the kicking game, you know. And so, but we, you know, I think guys had the opportunity to really see some of those things and say, wow, you know, you're right, the play's right there. If I just trust what I was doing, I didn't need to kind of freak out, react, change what I, you know, essentially stop thinking and trust that you know what to do. And I think that's what we saw a lot on film.
I asked you a little bit last week about the third downs. Auburn's really good at opposing teams' third down. What do you do to try to improve upon that this week?
Well, you got to execute. You know, I mean, they're great. They're third down because they can play great coverage on the back end, and they can really rush the passer with a bunch of, you know, great defensive linemen. So you got to be able to protect a little bit, and you got to be able to get open. And you know, part of that's going to be, you know, our execution. I mean, again, third downs, you know, whether it be we just missed a throw, we missed a protection, we dropped a pass, you know, there's opportunities for us there to go make plays, and if we had done that, would have been better. And, you know, even calls, you know, looking at what checks, we're getting into the right checks, are we calling the right plays? So we got to make sure we're not just doing what we're comfortable with as coaches, is doing what our guys can execute.
Is there something you do to highlight the third downs? I know for red zone, you rush into the end zone just so the guy to score. Is there something you do for third downs to add something to that?
No, you know, because we practice it a lot, and situationally at practice, we have, you know, knowing where the markers are, knowing what you have to get to. You know, always a little bit different, you know, and stuff in the bye week you work on, but it's different. You know, we're working our third down package versus our defense's third down package. Well, we're going to see different packages in the game a little bit, but it's just still the mindset of creating pressure, getting after the quarterback, and covering people on the defensive side of the ball, protecting the quarterback, getting the ball out on time, and getting open on offense.
Last week, Brian Johnson said at some point you like to get Nick Tiano some reps, just so if he gets in some point, it's not just his first action when it comes fourth quarter against Alabama or something. How do you try to get him in, and how important is that, I guess?
You know, it's always huge because you don't want to be, you know, I go back a couple years ago, we were playing Alabama. It was a really tight game, and, you know, we had to roll a true freshman quarterback into the game for some of his first action. And obviously not an ideal situation, but injuries come, you know, you can't control injuries. And we don't have a specific plan to get him in. I'd love to have him get in the game, but we don't have a specific plan on how to do that right now because we're just, you know, we're just trying to find ways to win.
Anything else? All right. Great.
Thanks, Dan.